Do you have trouble with difficult artwork? Have you ever wished there was a solution to all your painting problems?
Then good news, everyone!
I'm here today to tell you about a revolutionary new tool, Liquify. Proportions a little off? Fix it with Liquify. Wicked Witch got you down? Liquify it.
Oh, what a world, what a world!
Horrific nightmare creatures keeping you up at night? Liquify it! Depending on your software, results may vary. If you experience any of the following side effects, stop using Liquify immediately and contact a professional artist. If your Liquify tool has the ability to alter the fabric of reality, you may be a god and this video may not be for you. Let Liquify be the solution to all your problems.
I wish I had no bones! That ought to show you.
Brought to you by Prescott Pharmaceuticals. Prescott, where malpractice makes malperfect.
Hey everyone, I'm JR, and intro aside, today we're going to be going over the best ways to use the Liquify tool. We're using a program called Procreate today, and in my opinion, has one of the best Liquify tools out there. Let's go ahead and jump right into this and select some layers. In Procreate, you can select as many layers as you'd see fit, which obviously can be very handy. Or if you'd prefer, you can also just select an entire group and the Liquify will apply to the entire group. Some other programs out there that will remain unnamed require you to tediously only liquify like one layer at a time. Photoshop. I'm sorry. Don't know what came over me there. We can find the Liquify tool under the Adjustments tab down here at the bottom. It's also under the Filter tab in Photoshop. When you first open the tool, for 95% of the, at least my work requiring Liquify, these three tools are the only ones you'll need to worry about. The rest of the tools are useful, but really have like specific uses. So, starting with Push, also known as Warp in some other programs, we're given the ability to push our selected layer around the canvas within our given brush size, which can be controlled here. There are a few other settings down here as well, but we'll get to them as the tutorial progresses. I use Push on every single one of my paintings because, for better or worse, I usually don't get my proportions right on the first pass. Now, Liquify is a powerful tool, and when misused can destroy a painting rather than fix it. So, let's go over some of the basic ways to get the best results out of your Liquify tool without causing the nasty results we have over here. Two-finger tap to undo, by the way. Here we can see a few different things wrong with this face on the left. We're going to try to use Liquify to fix it to look more like the face on the right. Here we can see the side of the face is a bit too wide, and the edge of the face is the wrong shape. Now, if we simply try to use Push over the face, we're going to make a mess, just like we did earlier. So instead, there are a few methods we can use to limit the range of our alterations. Let's start with the Selection tool, so that we only affect this edge of the face and we don't push things unnecessarily, like the nose or the lips. Now let me select the correct layers here. We're going to need the skin. We're going to need the hair. We're going to avoid the eyes because I don't actually want to change the shape of the eyes accidentally yet. And we're going to go up to the hair because we want the hair to distort alongside this. We're on the brush tool, that's obviously wrong. Go to Liquify, and let's reduce our brush size. Probably there for now. And with a couple of large but controlled brush strokes, we're going to bring the face in. On the other hand, when working in the details, the Selection tool is often unnecessary, because here it's best to work with a small brush to bend and shape the design into the desired concept, one of many brush strokes at a time. It's easy to want to rush this process, but trust me, it's better to take your time and to slowly work your way towards the desired results. We can see that the jawline down here at the bottom is the wrong shape. We're going to drag this into more of a square jawline here. The chin is too long. With the new angle, we need to straighten out the jawline a bit. We have the ear here and the edge of the mouth way over here, and like edge of the eye, like this side of the face is way too wide. So we're gonna actually go ahead, and this best calls for a big Liquify tool. So we're going to go in here like this, basically selecting everything for this, except for the clothing. We don't need to adjust the clothing, but the hair included, the eyes, the skin, all of that. And with a couple of small but controlled brush strokes, we can move the whole face over, and we can always press 2 fingers on the screen to undo if we feel like we overstepped ourselves at any point. Now, this particular alteration, it could have been fixed with the transform tool, but that's not what today's tutorial is about, so I'm going to do my best to fix this issue using only Liquify. And any mistakes that crop up as a result of this Liquify, we can always go back and fix manually. For instance, the neck no longer will line up down here. Let me go to preferences and disable the mask visibility. My mask is still there, it's just invisible for the moment. The neck no longer lines up. Let's focus on adjusting the back of the head, the neck, and fix some of these other issues that we have going here. I've disabled the selection altogether, so I can basically work on anything of the hair or the head, anything in this range. We're gonna shrink this head a little bit. Notice I'm not doing any like continuous brush strokes. This is a whole bunch of little adjustments to fix the issues a little bit at a time. Can shrink it down here and work on the details, like we can even fix the neck if we wanted to using Liquify. Maybe add an Adam's apple a little bit there. We can also repaint it anytime we see fit. There's no need to force yourself to fix everything all at once. Also, handy trick when you're working with proportions, flip your canvas often. It helps to spot any mistakes you might have overlooked at some earlier point. You can go in here and liquify this eye down a little bit, for instance. Now, the push tool does have its uses outside of fixing proportions. We can also use it to distort a decal to match the underlying material in a kind of imagined 3D space, like the finished one over here will be our goal. So, what we do is we select the layer, we'll go into Liquify, we'll use push, and now we match the size of our brush to that of the wrinkles in the shirt, and deform the pattern so that it aligns with the bends and folds in the cloth. Just kind of form fit these so that it matches the distortion here. Confirm your changes, and now the design actually looks like it form fits the shirt, compared to what it was before, where it's just like a two-dimensional logo just thrown on the shirt. Much better. We can also use push to modify a character's expression by liquefying the eyebrows over here at the bottom of our worksheet. There's a bunch of variations we can get with this. In general, a good rule of thumb is to always keep an eye on what you want to move and what you want to avoid moving. You have a few options in that regard, from the selection tool to limiting your brush size, which we've already gone over. But those are good for prevention. But let's say the mistake has already been made. You can fix this with the Reconstruction tool to restore parts of the painting to the state they were before the current Liquify. Very useful for touching up mistakes after the fact. But be warned, it will have no effect on anything you do after you close the current Liquify. So if I were to now, with that horrendous accidental Liquify, oh no, what have I done? We can go back into the Liquify tool and go to the Reconstruction tool, and it will have no effect because I already confirmed the changes that were present in the previous Liquify. So that won't be fixed. The only way to fix that is with undo. Hopefully your program doesn't crash at the perfect wrong moment and eliminate your history. The same sort of fixes go for the Adjust tool. If we go over here, we actually have to make some changes first. Oh, I'm on the wrong tool. Duh. If we go in here and like mess a whole bunch of things up, oh no! Or let's say we actually did some legitimate changes, like if I actually wanted to like bring his neck in or something. We can, instead of the Reconstruction tool, which is kind of a spot healing type of thing, we can actually go into the Adjust tool and dial in the exact amount. Let's say that was too much, but ooh, I just want just a percentage of all the changes that I made to actually take effect. That's when the Adjust tool comes in. But still very useful for fixing things up. Now, let's back off for a minute and say that maybe your goal isn't to fix up in an image or painting, but instead to create some Liquify art from the start. That is where some of the other tools come into play. Starting with the Twirl tools, which are great for creating swirly patterns. Let's go in and liquify the Twirl tool. Let's increase our brush size so you all can see this. And you can see it creates a spiral. Now, Twirl left obviously does the opposite, twirls the opposite direction. Working with them can be mesmerizing and quite fun. Along the bottom of any given tool, we also have 4 settings, which are brush size, which we've already gone over, pressure, which controls the power behind. So if I lower my power and push, you can see it's a lot less powerful than if I go that, and now I push. It controls the power behind each distortion you make, which brings us to the next tool. Let's bring up distortion. It adds in sort of a watery turbulence wherever you're liquefying within the brush size. Very handy for very kind of wobbly type of look you want to give something. And finally, we have momentum, which adds a follow-through after you lift your stylus relative to the speed you were going. So if I go slowly, you'll just be a little bit, you'll just trail off a little bit, but if I really add some speed to that, some velocity, it will really follow through and carry across the screen. And to make the potential art even crazier, we can pop in a symmetry layer over here under Drawing Guide. Edit the Drawing Guide and go to Symmetry. We can change the variety of symmetry like horizontal, quadrant, radial, that sort of thing. Let's go with radial for now. It's definitely the craziest. Now that we've got it set up, we go in there with our Liquify tool and start distorting all of this. We can get some super trippy effects. They're very kaleidoscopy, if you want to use that as a word. We can even increase our brush size and get super trippy. And it just really gets crazy, very fast. Next up, we have the Pinch and Expand tools. Pinch will contract everything within the brush size towards a single point, while Expand will bloat everything away from the brush's center. Crystals will distort everything away from the brush's center with sharp, jagged points. And finally, Edge will pull everything within its radius into becoming a straight line along the direction you move your brush. So if you draw a circle, it will draw a straight line circle, kind of. If you draw a diagonal, it will pull everything towards a diagonal line, and so on. Honestly, I've never personally found a particular use for Edge within a painting situation, but hey, give it a try if you see a use for it. One last piece of advice. If you ever find yourself nervous about making alterations, take these words to heart from an artist who finds beauty painted through repeated failure. In digital artwork, there is nothing that can't be repainted. No mistake that doesn't have the possibility of alteration. Every error can be learned from and improved. Okay, that's about it. As a free download, I've provided the practice worksheet you've seen today on my Gumroad page as a free download if you want to follow along with today's tutorial. Link to that down in the description. But that is going to be all for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video and found it useful. On screen you can see some other art from around the channel, so hope you all enjoy that. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you all next time.